Hello, crafty friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm switching things up a bit from my usual card making and creating a fun circular card. Now, this one here is super quick, sparkly, and perfect for mass producing. Plus, it makes such a beautiful design for Thanksgiving. So, let's jump right in and start crafting this gorgeous card together. For this card, I'll be using the Give Thanks word and wreath die as my main focal point. Now, just like any other card design, you could easily swap in your own favorite focal point image and sentiments. But I chose this particular die because of its circular shape that works so beautifully for this style and adds a little twist to what I usually create. Now, this design also fits perfectly onto your standard A2 size card base, so I feel it's really versatile. And while the give thanks sentiment is perfect for Thanksgiving, it can just as easily be used all around the year. Now, since I was really excited for the fall season and the cozy vibes that came with it, I decided to lean into Thanksgiving theme instead of making a generic thank you card. For this project, I also will be using some fun pattern papers from Your Paper Insider along with a basic circle nesting die and a standard A2 size card base. I'm starting by cutting my focal point image from the stunning pattern paper by Your Paper Insider. It's a gorgeous copper metallic cardstock, and I just love the shine it gives. Now, since this paper is a bit more delicate than your regular cardstock, I'm being extra careful as I remove the die to avoid any tearing that could ruin the design. To get those tiny little pieces out from between the die cut, the best tool to use is that little pokey or pointy tool. All you need to do is gently press through the release holes on the die, making sure that each piece pops out cleanly without damaging the paper. This part of the video is sped up for you, but in real time, it did take me quite a while to carefully remove everything and ensure that my die cut came out perfectly. Just look at that gorgeous, intricate detail on this die cut piece. It's absolutely stunning. Well, you could even place it on a standard A2 size card base where it would fit beautifully while still leaving enough margin to add extra details if you'd like. Now, since this die cut itself is quite delicate, I decided to give it more stability by adding an extra layer of cardstock. And instead of going with a plain white cardstock, I chose brown craft cardstock. Not only does it provide sturdiness and dimension, but it will also create a lovely shadow effect behind the focal point image. The craft cardstock was a lot thicker, so I didn't need to be quite as delicate when removing it from the die. Once both the layers were ready, I adhered them together using liquid glue. Well, you could also use spray adhesive, but for intricate die cuts like these, I find liquid glue works best. It gives you a little wiggle room to perfectly align the layers before they set in place. I love using my Barely Art liquid glue. The fine tip makes it perfect for intricate die cuts like this, since it dispenses just the right amount of glue without any mess. After adhering the two layers together, I carefully aligned them so that they sat perfectly on top of each other. Well, now, if I was making a regular thank you card, I might have chosen brighter colors like yellows and greens to contrast with that metallic cardstock. But since this is a Thanksgiving card, I wanted to lean into warm, cozy tones, but with a bit of a contrast. So I pulled out this gorgeous navy cardstock from, again, Your Paper Insider and used a circle die that is slightly larger than my focal point to cut out the base. This deep navy layer will really ground the design and make the intricate metallic die cuts stand out beautifully. Before adhering the focal point image to the base, I wanted to add a little extra contrast. I'm using the Simon's Stamp Positively Saturated ink in the shade Galaxy, which is a deep, rich blue, to blend around the edges of that circle base. Of course, you can skip this step and use the die cut directly on the plain cardstock, but I feel that touch of inking really makes the focal point piece pop. And if you know me, you know I can't resist adding some shine and sparkle. So after I was done with all of that beautiful ink blending, I placed the circle base into my splatter box and gave it a light mist. Well, I wouldn't say light, I went with heavy hand, a mist of shimmer spray for that beautiful glimmering finish. You'll notice that the circle panel curls up a little after being misted, but don't worry, that's completely normal. Once it dries, you can flatten it by placing it under a stack of books, or you can adhere it directly onto the card base to smoothen out that curl. Now I'll let this shimmer spray dry, and while that's drying, let's move on to the card base. I'm using a standard A2 size side folding card base, and with the same circle die that I used to cut the navy panel, I'm going to cut out our card shape. The key here is to position the die slightly above the scored edge of the card front, leaving a small gap at the top. After running it through the die cutting machine, you'll end up with a circular shaped card that has a flat edge along the top fold. Now, technically, the card base isn't a perfect circle because of that straight edge, but that's where our navy circle panel comes in, and it'll cover the line beautifully and give an illusion of a fully round card. For my card base, I used a 110-pound white cardstock. Now, since this circular base is smaller than your standard A2 size card base, it does leave you with less room to write a personal message inside. But honestly, I think it's such a refreshing change from the usual cards that I make, so I'm not very worried about the space left for my personal message. Now that all our components are ready, the circular card base, the navy background, and the focal point die cut image, it's time to put everything together. Using liquid glue, I first adhered the Give Thanks die cut onto the navy panel. You could also use spray adhesive instead, since this layered up piece is sturdier than a single delicate die cut piece. I just love the way the metallic design contrasts against that deep navy blue color on the background. I like to use my reverse tweezers to pick up the focal point image and then place it directly onto the navy blue background. Once that piece was in place, I glued the entire assembly onto our circular card base, carefully aligning the edges so that none of the white cardstock shows through. Isn't it just absolutely gorgeous? The metallic cardstock paired with that soft shimmer spray on the background has me completely in love with this design. Now, since I wanted to switch things up from my usual card making style, I realized it had also been a while since I used any sequins on my cards. So, to add extra sparkle, I bought in the platinum gold glitter sequin mix by Cat Scrappiness and scattered them randomly across the card front before calling it finished. I adhere the sequins in place using liquid glue. Well, you could also use your Nuvo drops or stickles if you'd prefer, but I really love the shine from these glitter sequences, and well, they also pair so beautifully with all the sparkle that's already on the card front. And with that, our circular Thanksgiving card is complete. From the metallic focal point and the navy background to all that extra shimmer and sparkle. I love how this design adds a fresh twist to my usual card making style, and I hope it inspires you to try something a little different too. All the supplies that I used to create this project will be listed down in the description box below. Please note that all of these links are affiliate links, which means that if you shop using one of my links, I'll get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.